Good day, Miss Gina, classmates. I am Filmar R. Domingo, and I will be presenting my critique to my chosen journal article. Among the top 20 plastic polluting countries in the world, 8 are from Asia, including the Philippines. That makes the Asia Pacific region the ocean's plastic pollution hotspot. Large amounts of plastics in the ocean can disrupt it and will lead to various consequences. One of them is microplastics. Ray and Ray, in 2021, defined microplastics as plastics ranging from a size of 1 micrometer to 5 millimeters. Because of their minute size, microplastics can travel into different ecosystems, including sand beach ecosystem. In the article, they attempted to quantify and characterize microplastics on the beaches of Puerto Princesa, Palawan. Before the experiments, samples were collected from barangays along the coast of the city with 21 sampling sites that had gone quantification and analysis. Results confirmed the presence of microplastics on the beaches of the city. Specifically, 71% of the sampling sites were confirmed to contain microplastics. Analysis showed that most of the MPs were PET and PP plastics, which are common in drinking bottles and plastic sachets. Let's start with the literature review. Volume-wise, they have a good number of literature that can back up the research. Their citations can be found throughout the research. For its weakness, they had a lot of literature that is irrelevant to the research. While the article could be seen as the latest in Philippine microplastic research, it is somewhat obsolete in different aspects compared to the literature they reviewed. Next is the theoretical framework. Its strength is its framing. First, the framework can be easily divided into appropriate concepts, given the scope of the work. Lastly, the research strictly work along the framework and do not deviate from it, which is a plus. For its flaws, its first is the lack of overall representation. The article focused heavily on the living factors of the ecosystems, neglecting the living factors. In the study of Navarro et al. In 2022, they added the living component of the ecosystems in their framework. Lastly, Galarpe et al. In 2021 also used macroplastics components together with microplastics. For the research design and methodology, its strength is the use of experimental research design, meaning all the data comes from a valid and reliable research protocols. Another major strength is the use of randomization in choosing the collection site, but it could be improved. In the study of Navarro et al. In 2022, they used a combination of research design, wherein data do not just come from experiments alone, but also from their interviews with the locals, using valid and reliable instruments. Faller et al. In 2019 used block randomization compared to simple randomization. In the article, researchers just pick from a shallow fishbowl, which is completely correct, but the data can be more varied and balanced when different randomization was used. For the strength of the methodology, first, the collection site. They had chosen a vast area for greater variety and wide geographical distributions. And last, the isolation protocol. Several studies use the same flotation technique in isolating the microplastics, but their methodology is also lacking. First, the use of manual counting as the only way of quantifying their samples is very crude. Buchol et al. In 2019 used a two-way counting method using two types of microscope. In this way, counting is more accurate. Second, the characterization is limited only to physical characteristics of microplastics. Sa Jorne et al. In 2021, this is a different research lead, added chemical characterization, which added another dimension to the research, which is lacking in the article being critiqued. Finally, the selection of collection site lacks validity, for they did not pattern it to an existing protocol. Although the study included a diverse range of collection sites, they only collected microplastics from the surface of the beach. They limited the collection of sand to a shallow depth of 50 centimeters. In contrast, Akot et al. In 2022 dug deeper into the beaches of Sarangani ensuring a more dependable size. Finally, the results and discussion. For each strength, the results are well presented and organized. Another is the use of graph. Considering the study's scope and limitation, the results were pretty decent. Finally, the research questions are properly answered. The results of the research could be enhanced. First, the use of graphs and figures could backfire. People who are not visual could find the research very hard to understand. Second, the statistics should have been explained in the easiest way possible. Statistical values should be followed by a simple explanation of the overall implication of the research. Finally, the discussion could be more reliable if some facts from the results were mentioned. Maybe a short description of the results should be included in the discussion, which is useful in strengthening their claims. In conclusion, the article has its strengths and weaknesses. It provided primary information that the beaches of the city has already contaminated by microplastics. Methods of the research can be further improved to include better experimental protocols for much needed and relevant results. The article is a good and will be useful for a first step in the overall study of the presence of microplastics in the environment. Further studies could focus on the different environmental impacts of microplastics. If you have any questions or concerns, you may email me. Good day and thank you for listening.